Today I am going to share with you all a few thoughts about how to grow your business and career post COVID-19. These thoughts have emerged after taking some inputs from different scholars, from different people, from the newspapers which are there, from the news which have been there on the TV, and many other sources. So, this is not an original thought from my side, but nonetheless, I thought that let me share it with all of you all. So to start with, if we see this crisis which is come, it's totally unpredictable. In the sense that if we see the other crisis, maybe like a flood, fire, or maybe even a financial crisis, you can predict when the crisis probably can start and when it is going to end. But this is one crisis where nobody knows when the solution is going to appear, when the vaccine will be in place, and many other things. So, in a way, this is totally unpredictable. It has hit all of us very badly, and still people are just guessing. There is no clear cut path laid out for elimination of this particular virus. So, let's see how it has affected all of us. So today I'm going to cover starting from the economy as a whole. So as an economy, what is the impact, which is there on the whole of the economy, and then what is the impact next on the sector. Thereafter, what is the impact on a company, and finally, what is the impact on an individual. So to start with, let's see situation at large. What is there? So unclear future, as I said in the earlier my talk, and a prolonged pandemic can have devastating effects. I mean, if the pandemic prolongs, if the sluggishness in the economy is there, it can have a devastating effect. But we are all positive, and we need to see what are the positives also which will come out of this whole thing. So, what are the current outcomes which we see? Awareness about climate change, hygiene and cleanliness, health, etc. Already that has increased. People, what is the change in the mindset of the people? So there are two types of changes which are happening. One is some of the people have become kind, gentle, and more caring, and at the other end, some people have also become more selfish. Some hoarding has already started. So we have both the reactions which are happening. Importance of critical workers, critical services and workers has increased. Yes, my friends, in earlier days we had heroes from the cricket field, film stars, politicians, and all those people who had a lot of glamour. But now maybe the right kind of people are getting their due. Doctors, nurses, drivers, delivery people, people who are maintaining the hygiene, housekeeping, and all these people are really being appreciated. One of the persons who was not appreciated, one of the segment who was not appreciated earlier was soldiers. And soldiers also are doing a good job in areas like Jammu and Kashmir. So all these people are really being appreciated, and actually that's the right thing to do also. So then there are other emergence which is happening. Emergence of self-help groups which are there. Community groups are there. So people are trying to come together to help each other. Social distancing has already become the norm, and I think that's probably going to stay for maybe months or a year or two. We don't know as of now. Large gatherings have already been prohibited. These are some of the outcomes. What is the overall impact of it on the economy as such, the macroeconomic situation? The first thing is that the supply chains have got disrupted. Yes, the whole supply chain, starting from maybe whatever is starting from a screw to maybe the manufacturing of an automobile, or starting from some ICs, to the manufacturing of a mobile phone or a laptop. The whole supply chain, maybe it was coming from China or it was being local or whichever place, the whole thing has got disrupted, as a result of which the end product is also not available in the market, and it may also take some more time to be available. Manufacturing and construction are already bleeding, they're already facing the brunt, and social distancing will actually have a large impact on these activities. Going further, lockdowns could be frequent also. There are wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4. So how many waves will come and go? We never know. Till the time the vaccine is in place, the controlling the waves will only be one way. That is the lockdown. So lockdowns could be frequent, and we are prepared, mentally prepared for all these things. Imports from China definitely have gone down, and local manufacturing obviously will go up. Export from any country to any country will now go down. People would not like to take risk of importing some goods and along with that probably the virus to their own country. So some countries will actually start manufacturing which have got the land, resources, skill sets and the people. So some countries like US have already started kind of setting up factories in some particular maybe automobiles or mobiles and other areas. But some countries like Western countries, especially the Europeans, they may find it very difficult to put up large factories as they will not have the economies of scale. As it is, they have very small countries and land also could be a challenge. So countries like US may set up factories to an extent, but it's still a knowledge economy. They would not like to have the whole manufacturing entire thing, kind of shifted to their country, but they would manufacture some critical things like mobile phones, high-end mobile phones, and automobiles. Africa probably would be an area where probably the exports would stick. Countries from other countries would still export because probably they don't have the technically skilled people, the technology, and other things. A global recession already probably has kind of started, and it might, it might continue for I don't know, how many months together now. Migration would definitely be difficult. So people actually shifting for the sake of jobs or for education purpose, it will be difficult. Some students or some people themselves may would like to stay in their own country rather than going and risking and staying in a place like maybe New York or even for that matter UK. So it would be both ways. Countries would not like to have people coming in, too many people coming in, and even some countries who are more safer or where the pandemic is not affected so much, they would not like the people from that country would not like to shift to those countries. Uh, Initially, the recession in the services sector was not there, but due to social distancing, even these sectors are impacted. One of the silver lining here is the UNCTAD report, UNCTAD, which says that China and India could be the least affected economies amongst all the economies in the world. That's what the report says. So, what are the other challenges which will be there? Cash flow, payment collection will be really tough. Collecting money from your debtors, companies collecting money or maybe suppliers collecting money from the customers, where there was a credit which was given, it will be a challenging task now. Definitely a shift is already happened and it is happening from offline to online. So initially people never gave so much of importance to online sales or maybe online trading or doing any other things online or maybe having IT enabled infrastructure for people to work from anywhere. But now that is gaining a lot of importance and we keep gaining. Aspirational sales products will definitely come down. People will focus on the basic necessities, the basic necessity which Maslow's law of hierarchy states, food, clothing, shelter, and others. So people probably would kind of focus more on that rather than focusing on products which are, really kind of not required as of now. And that could be kind of down trading also rather than going in for just for high-end brands. People would prefer to go for a mid-end, or people going for a mid-end may come down to economic kind of brands and kind of start saving, rather than spending. So savings might increase, that so that in case of any uncertainty in future, at least they will have some savings which will be going in for that. Old businesses and old way of doing things are definitely going to change, and those people who also thought that they will actually change their processes and other things maybe a year or two later or maybe after 3 years or 4 years, they are being forced now to change their processes now, just now. Because if they don't change, they will not be able to survive. Event management definitely will come down. Those large gatherings of IPL kind of sports or music concerts are no longer be going to be there at least for a few months. So now that we have seen this macroeconomy and what are the overall impacts, let's see which are the sectors which are impacted negatively. Hotels, tourism, aviation, airlines are severely impacted. I mean, those are the sectors. It will take a lot of time for these sectors to come up again. Government has not yet given permission to open up this sector, so it will take a lot of time. Apparel and textiles. So a lot of manual labor is there in this particular sector, and because of labor challenges, they may not be able to produce, and that is going to affect their market share and sales top line. Auto and auto components. Auto sector was already not doing so well. They had a negative growth this year, and with this pandemic, now they are definitely going to suffer a lot. And because the auto components, the demand for the auto sector will be less, definitely the auto component people will have to bear the brunt. Building and construction. So building and construction again is a sector where a lot of labor is required, and this labor is now either gone back to their own places or their native places, or they may not be able to have 100% of the labor on the sites, because of social distancing. So the deadlines are definitely going to get affected. Air conditioning and refrigeration sector. Air conditioning, if you consider the residential sector, it was not doing so well, but the commercial sector was doing well because there was an investment which was coming from the European and US countries. But now this investment will dry up because those companies will focus in their local markets more. So commercial sector, which was doing quite well, again will get impacted. Residential was already impacted. So this is again one sector which will find difficult to grow, or maybe at least maintain the last year growth rate. Refrigeration sector, yes, there is a silver lining that the refrigeration sector may grow, the cold storage and other areas, because there will be a lot of focus on food, storage of food and other essential items. Hence, the demand for cold storage can go up. Consumer durables and mobile phones. So people wouldn't like to splurge on, again as I said, products which are not a necessity. If they wanted to buy a TV, which was a high-end TV or a bigger size TV, they may postpone these kind of purchases. Even people who wanted to upgrade to the next level of a mobile phone, so that also they may postpone that purchase. So this sector in the short term is likely to get impacted. Let's see now which are the sectors which are impacted positively. So to start with, food and agriculture. So food and agriculture is one of the biggest contributor to the GDP. It is the second largest, in fact, contributor and employs maximum number of people. This sector will definitely, already people have, they started buying essentials more now, and the demand and the requirement for this particular sector will keep growing, because now again, while yes, there was a tendency to go out and eat, people have now started cooking food more at home, and going rather than they going in for junk food items, people are preferring to have a home cooked or a homemade food. So definitely food and agriculture, the staple products which are there, the demand for these products will go up. Life insurance and health insurance. So yes, people are currently not in the mindset of thinking about insurance or something, but definitely in a period of maybe couple of months when everything settles down, people will go in for ensuring their life as well as health, because this uncertainty or this the thought that this might again come back or something like that might happen in the future would definitely make people to think that yes, I should invest in a good amount. I should invest a good amount in life as well as health insurance. Healthcare, hospitals requirement, or maybe already there are hospitals being set up, and there is a likelihood that uh, corporates which may are not doing well in that particular sector might diversify and come into the hospital sector, because again this sector is going to go up, the demand for hospitals will again go up, so there is a likelihood that this sector may see some activity. FMCG and retail. So FMCG products which are necessity or required, maybe people will definitely go and buy. And also these people will have to shift from not only they should have an offline channel but also an online channel. So their presence, their channel, they should have now an omni channel presence. So offline as well as online will be the mantra going forward for all these FMCG and retail people. Pharma. So there are already 3,000 odd pharma companies with 10,000 plus manufacturing facilities across the country, and government has given permission for four more export-oriented units. And in Vizag, already the manufacturing of bulk drugs has started. So pharma will see a lot of activity. There will be a lot of research which will go in for finding out the right solution for this COVID-19, and even for other things. So because China, we used to import a lot of bulk drug from China, the kind of ingredient which is required for manufacturing the next level of capsules or other products, probably bulk drug manufacturing will definitely increase here. E-commerce. E-commerce was already doing quite well, and now it will gain further. People would not like to visit physical stores because of social distancing. They would rather prefer buying online. But the e-commerce companies will also have to take care of certain things. One of the first thing is like training their people with the new norms, bringing in new technology so that they ensure that the connect between people is less, the touch points are less. Training the back end people, training the people who are going to front end with the customers. So these are some of the things where these companies will have to bring in technology, also skill development for the people. Education and skilling. So this market was already picking up last few years. We have seen a lot of big companies coming, some companies which are already become kind of iconic like Byju's. Then there are other companies like Coursera, Upgrade, and many others who are doing quite well. So online skill education market is supposed to grow to a larger extent. Technology companies, digital technology, data centers, there will be a spurt. Online education, work from home, cloud, cyber security, and many other things will drive demand. So there will be a lot of demand for data centers and products which go into making of a data center. Media and entertainment. So it will see a mixed impact. Those channels or maybe film industry will definitely get a hit because they were shooting physically. But there are certain companies like OTT companies, Netflix, Amazon definitely will have an edge over other regular channels because they have a lot of content already put into their database. Gaming will definitely grow. So in the short term, definitely there will be an impact on this, but the consumption already of all this media is already happening. People are already watching voraciously the internet and the TV, the programs. They are watching the repeat episodes. So in the short term, the production will get hit, and in the long run, the OTT companies are likely to go up or maybe likely to gain further. So now let's look at the response from the government. So normally, whenever there is a recession or whenever the economy is not doing well, the government starts spending. So same way now, due to this pandemic, the government has also declared a package of 20 lakh crores. So where is this package being spent? So currently, the government is focusing on the poor, the marginal people, the farmers, the laborers, the migrant laborers. Secondly, they are focused on MSMEs, as MSMEs are the hardest hit. You know. So there is a package for the MSMEs. Third is local के लिए vocal. So government wants to have a lot of products being manufactured locally. They want to have a lot of products which are substitution for imports which are happening, and products especially which are coming in from China. So while it is not said very openly, government wants to replace most of the products which are being imported from China. And the last one is the skill development. So this is also an area, because when you set up new factories, new technologies, new way of doing things, processes, you need people who are skilled enough. So that's also an area where the government is focusing on. Which what are the other areas where the government is also kind of putting in its efforts? And definitely healthcare and hospitals is one. Food production is another area where technology, seeds, fertilizers, cold storage is another things where government is putting in its efforts. Development of the vaccine, so government is working, as well as other products like ventilators. So government went to some of those medical manufacturers where they asked them to manufacture ventilators at a certain cost, but then they said no. But Mahindra and Mahindra, a company which was never into medical diagnostic or medical manufacturing of medical equipments, they developed a product at rupees 7,500, and the whole game changed. So now companies will have competitors who are different, totally different, or maybe outside from their own industry. So everybody will have to be prepared that initially it was the focus. You focus on one thing and become the top leader. But now the game will change. People would like to diversify. People would not like to put all their eggs in one basket. Already we have some good examples like Reliance. It started off as a petrochemical company, but now if you see, they have done, fantastically well in retail. In the telecom sector, they have revolutionized the whole sector as such, and they are also entering into other sectors like online with AGO platform. So we have another examples like ITC, a cigarette company getting into foods, FMCG, and other products. So these companies are balancing their risk, and now the effect or impact on these companies will again be balanced. Another sector where the government will spend is on technology. So they would definitely like to bring in 5G and other things. The government will kind of put most of their work online. They will try and kind of digitize their work. So that will be another change.